Chapter 153. Cobham didn't have the strength to resist and was struck by Cordelia. In a flash, countless flames erupted, directly burning him to ashes. A great warlock is indeed a great warlock. It's really difficult to kill you. If you hadn't been seriously injured by Her Holiness Carolina, then it would be practically impossible for me to injure you. A blue light flickered and countless mists converged, once again forming Cobham's fleshly body. He smiled as he walked out of the mist and pointed at Cordelia. The dagger inserted in Cordelia's abdomen suddenly blossomed with a gloomy radiance. A dense, deathly aura quickly spread along Cordelia's abdomen and eroded her body. Cordelia gnashed her teeth and said, "This is the legend-rank cursed dagger Dusk. This should be the weapon of Demon Clan's legend-rank assassin Bartolio. You're one of Bartolio's people." Cobham said with a slight smile, "That's right." After hearing Cobham's admission, everyone's complexions changed slightly. Northern Lion Cobham was the banner of Tyrannid Subcontinent's northern region's resistance against the demons. No one would have thought that such a banner of resistance against the demons, a human warlock genius, would actually be a member of Demon Clan. Once this news spread, it would definitely cause a huge shock. Cordelia said with great unwillingness, "Why? I'm an ally of the Underworld's allied forces. Why would you assassinate me?" "It's very simple. It's because you were seriously injured by Carolina." Cobham gave a slight smile, his eyes blossoming with the flames of ambition as he said, "As long as I kill all of you, then the resources I seize from you will be enough to promote me to a great warlock rank expert. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity." Cobham's eyes flickered with the flames of ambition as he said with a smile, "Bartolio originally wanted me to cooperate with you and wait for an opportunity to eradicate all of your opponents. However, I think that Bartolio would be more interested in a complete rose garden. After killing you, no one will be able to stop me." "Well said, this is indeed a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity." Just then, Yang Feng's cheerful voice came from the grand arena. Cobham's expression changed drastically. He turned around and looked at the remains of the Moffin demonic polar bear. The Moffin demonic polar bear, whose head had already been blasted apart by Cordelia, stood up. It beckoned with its hand, and the head that had been blasted away flew over, directly stabbing into the neck of the Moffin demonic polar bear. Its eyes blossomed with traces of red radiance. As if he had seen a ghost, Cobham looked at Yang Feng and exclaimed, "Weren't you killed by Her Holiness Cordelia? How did he come back to life?" "I was just pretending to be dead to tease you. If that wasn't the case, how could you have performed so well?" "Haha." From the Moffin demonic polar bear's bloody maw came Yang Feng's unbridled laughter. Cordelia's expression became very interesting. She gritted her teeth and said, "That's impossible. I clearly saw you become corpses. How could this be?" Yang Feng manipulated the Moffin demonic polar bear to extend a finger and shake it slightly, before giving a long sigh. "Uncultured, truly scary." This was an optical dislocation system that utilized the principle of mirrors. Well, to put it simply, it was your eyes that deceived you, understand? In the split second when Cordelia hit him, Yang Feng had activated the Moffin demonic polar bear's feigned death system, deceiving Cordelia with a super-realistic feigned death. Otherwise, the Moffin demonic polar bear wouldn't have been so easily destroyed by Cordelia. When Cordelia heard Yang Feng's ridicule, she was so angry that she almost spat out a mouthful of blood. She was Rose Garden's second strongest expert, extremely knowledgeable and proficient in countless subjects. Now that she was ridiculed by Yang Feng for being uncultured, it made her seethe with anger. If she could move, she would definitely slap Yang Feng to death. Carolina covered her mouth and chuckled. She coughed up several mouthfuls of blood in succession, yet she couldn't stop. Dephilia gave a sweet smile. "This guy is really cunning. I knew that he wouldn't die so easily." Cobham forced a smile and took a step forward, saying, "Yang Feng Darren, you're indeed worthy of being Steel City's peerless genius. We're not your match. I have a proposal, I hope that you'll consider it. Demon Clan's experts are as common as clouds, it's only a matter of time before they dominate the entire Tyrannid subcontinent. Tyrannid subcontinent's human forces are always scheming against each other, each doing their own thing. They're like a plate of loose sand, they're nothing to be afraid of. Please join our demon clan. Our demon clan will fully support you in taking control of Rose Garden. The 3 most beautiful roses in the Rose Garden will also be yours. What a cunning thing. Unfortunately, you ran into me. Go to hell. Yang Feng gave a cold smile and his mind moved. The muffin demonic polar bear's eyes flickered with an ominous glint. In a flash, it erupted with the terrifying life force of a great warlock rank. It waved its huge paw and an incomparably tremendous fluctuation of earth magic power quickly spread. Countless incomparably sharp earth spikes madly stabbed towards the exit of the reception hall. An afterimage flickered and a figure flew out from the exit of the reception hall. It was Cobham himself. In the grand arena, there were 2 Cobhams at once. Under Yang Feng's manipulation, the muffin demonic polar bear's thick legs flashed madly, the ground shook unceasingly. It suddenly appeared in front of Cobham with a touch of afterimages as swift as a clap of thunder, before fiercely slapping Cobham with its paw. Apart from its weakness of being unable to fly, the muffin demonic polar bear's battle prowess on the ground was simply comparable to that of a dragon. Its movement speed was also astonishingly fast, surpassing the speed of sound. Cobham's body hadn't reacted yet, when he saw the huge bear paw with a terrifying shadow appear in front of him. Boom! Countless gravel splashed, the huge bear paw slapped empty air and bombarded the ground of the grand arena, blasting open a large hole. What a waste! You can't even handle such a small matter, and you still need me to save you. If it wasn't for the fact that you still have some value, then I would really want to kill you. An extremely callous voice came from behind Yang Feng. Yang Feng's mind moved and he started the scanning device. With a glance, he saw that behind him, the southern goddess of war Jenny, who should have been unconscious, had already stood up. In her right hand was a person. It was the pale-faced Cobham. A terrifying great warlock rank life force spread from Jenny. She was clearly a great warlock rank peerless expert. Yang Feng turned around and said with a dignified expression, "Jenny, are you also Bartolio's lackey?" "Lackey? No, Bartolio and I have a cooperative relationship. Besides, I'm not Jenny. The real Jenny has already died at my hands." Jenny gave a slight smile. Her body squirmed and she quickly changed into a beautiful blonde woman with snow-white skin and a sexy figure dressed in a black leather armor. The beautiful blonde woman said with a slight smile, "My name is Ramona. I'm not very famous in the surface world, but in the underworld, I have the nickname of the 100 Faces Witch. Among Tyrannid subcontinent's 7 great warlocks that died, 2 of them were only succeeded by those freaks with my help." Yang Feng's eyebrows creased slightly as he said, "Why do you want to help the underworld's allied forces?" Ramona gave a sweet smile and said, "Of course it's for benefits and resources. Every great warlock is a moving treasure trove. If I get rid of them, then all their wealth will belong to me. Moreover, the underworld's allied forces will also pay me a huge sum of money. There's no benefit in standing on the side of humans. After all, the surface world's big cake has already been divided. It's very difficult for me to have a big bite." Tyrannid subcontinent's resource-rich areas were basically already occupied by people, with the 6 great warlock groups as the core. Warlock groups of various sizes had already divided their spheres of influence. At that time, Yang Feng was barely able to seize a small piece of territory from Fernandro Principality. As a great warlock rank expert, Ramona would receive courteous treatment no matter where she went. But once she wanted to establish her own force, then she would be hindered both in the open and in the dark. A lot of great warlock rank experts, because of the hindrances both in the open and in the dark, had to spend a lot of energy on secular affairs, before finally slowly becoming mediocre and finding it hard to advance. Ramona's beautiful eyes flashed with a touch of a peculiar glint as she said with a smile, "Yang Feng, your Steel City should understand me very well. If those original warlock groups weren't cleaned up, then how would there be room for us to develop? It would be better for you to have your uncle join us. We'll join hands and swallow Rose Garden, then get rid of Tyrannid subcontinent's 6 great warlock groups one by one and divide their resources." Once she said that, The complexions of everyone in the grand arena changed slightly. Steel City had a great warlock rank expert like Daoism, as well as 10 mechanized infantry divisions and great warlock rank alchemical golems. Once such a formidable force fell towards the underworld's allied forces, then the situation would become even worse. It might even become a bargaining chip that would decide the outcome of the war between Tyrandot subcontinent's humans and the underworld's allied forces. Yang Feng said righteously and with awe-inspiring righteousness, "Shut up. I, Yang Feng, am a man of indomitable spirit. I'm irreconcilable with the underworld's allied forces. You don't have to say anything else. I definitely won't compromise with the other races." When Carolina saw this scene, her beautiful eyes flashed with a touch of a peculiar splendor. Clarissa's beautiful eyes also flashed with a touch of appreciation. This little thief's words are pleasant to hear, but I'm afraid that while he's saying one thing, he's thinking another thing in his heart. Daoism curled her lips and sneered inside. As Yang Feng spoke righteously, he was constantly calculating in his mind, wouldn't I be closing the door to negotiations by saying this? That shouldn't be the case. As long as I'm stronger than them, then there shouldn't be any problems. If worse comes to worst, then I'll just flee to another plane. Chapter 154. Since that's the case, then I can only ask you to die. Ramona sighed faintly. Her figure strangely disappeared from where she stood and at once appeared in front of the Moffin demonic polar bear's chest. She clawed at the Moffin demonic polar bear's cockpit. Ramona's battle experience was extremely rich. At a glance she could see that the Moffin demonic polar bear's weakest point was the cockpit where Yang Feng and the other pilots were located. So fast! Yang Feng's eyes flashed with a whiff of astonishment. With his level 1 warlock rank battle experience, he basically couldn't react. At that critical moment, the Moffin demonic polar bear's battle intelligence quickly took over. An incomparably tremendous magic radiance erupted and quickly formed a rock armor containing the power of earth elemental particles in the cockpit. Ramona twisted her body, lightly floated, and strangely appeared on the Moffin demonic polar bear's head, before slamming her foot on the Moffin demonic polar bear's head. Boom! A world-shaking blare resounded. The Moffin demonic polar bear's head suddenly caved in. 2 huge cracks appeared on the ground where it stood. Boom! 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 Ramona's speed was simply fast to the limit. Afterimages circled around the Moffin demonic polar bear, before slamming her foot on its body. In a short span of a breath, the Moffin demonic polar bear was kicked several dozen times by Ramona, with countless rocks splashing. Warning! Warning! With the Moffin demonic polar bear's current state, there's a 95% probability that it will be defeated after 11 minutes and 32 seconds. Pilots, please get ready. A warning message was quickly transmitted into Yang Feng's eyes. Although the Moffin demonic polar bear was an extraordinary life form comparable to a great warlock rank, but after its death, it was modified by Yang Feng into a mechanical battle beast. Its battle prowess was greatly weakened. Yang Feng's optical computer database didn't contain Ramona's battle data. He was unable to deduce her next move. He was unable to display the terrifying ability to predict the future. He could only rely on the Moffin demonic polar bear's battle instincts to fight. He was at an extreme disadvantage, being completely subdued by a genuine great warlock like Ramona. Carolina suddenly warned, "She's a body-tempering warlock. Don't let her get close. Use spells to deal with her." Body-tempering warlocks were a branch of warlocks. It was different from other warlocks who practiced both law and body. The spells that body-tempering warlocks construct in their spiritual sea are spells that enhance their physical qualities, such as the level 1 spell, physical qualities strengthening. The methods of body-tempering warlocks are far inferior to other warlocks. But once they got close, they were the most terrifying meat shields and weapons of war. The best way to deal with them was to use all kinds of strange spells to prevent them from getting close and kill them from afar. Even if I know that she's a body-tempering warlock, I still don't have the corresponding spell to contend against her. Yang Feng said with a bitter smile from inside the Moffin demonic polar bear's cockpit. The Moffin demonic polar bear was born to be proficient in earth magic, and was the darling of the earth. It was extremely difficult to hit Ramona, who was practically glued to his body. Looks like I can only use a few more trump cards. Yang Feng's mind moved. The Muffin demonic polar bear gave a furious roar and launched the level 4 Earth attribute defensive spell, Spike Giant Rock Barrier. The ground squirmed and countless sharp rock spikes crazily stabbed in all directions. Ramona drifted in the air for some distance. As if a phantom, she evaded the countless sharp rock spikes and violently retreated until she was out of the range of the rock spikes. In a split second, a hedgehog-like giant rock barrier with countless sharp rock spikes appeared in the center of the grand arena, covering the Muffin demonic polar bear. Idiot, this kind of spell can't hit anyone, it'll only consume your strength in vain. The might of level 4 spells is enormous, but the consumption is also great. How many level 4 spells can you support? Ramona laughed coldly. Her figure flashed, and she transformed into over a dozen afterimages that flashed over to the enormous rock barrier that was like a hedgehog. Her fists and legs smashed onto the countless rock spikes, causing them to be blasted flying one by one. In a breath of time, Yang Feng consumed 10% of the Muffin demonic polar bear's stored energy, and the giant rock barrier it released was almost destroyed by Ramona. Boom! Suddenly, the giant rock barrier burst open in a flash, countless rock fragments as if shrapnel splashed in all directions. Ramona was slightly startled. Her figure retreated briskly. She flew 100 meters away and stared at the giant rock barrier. She saw a blue Daoism demonic ice wolf appear next to the Muffin demonic polar bear. Ramona's beautiful eyes flashed with incredulity. She exclaimed, "Blue Daoism demonic ice wolf. You actually have 2 level 4 alchemical golems. Your Steel City's alchemy has actually reached this level?" The warlocks in the spectator seats were also dumbstruck. Some of them didn't dare to believe their eyes. A great warlock rank alchemical golem was already enough to raise the eyebrows of countless great forces. It had the terrifying power to change the balance of power between 2 great forces. In Tyrandot subcontinent, perhaps only the 6 great warlock groups had a few such alchemical golems hidden in their treasuries, acting as their foundation. Yang Feng gave a long sigh and said, "Ramona, you should leave. If you continue to fight, only death will await you. Seeing that we're both humans, I can let you live." "Hee, what do you mean let me live? You can't kill me, okay?" Ramona covered her mouth and said with a chuckle, "It's very difficult for these 2 alchemical golems to defeat me, and it's even more impossible for them to kill me. You're just a trifling level 1 warlock. Don't make me laugh." Ramona was a great warlock who had experienced countless battles in the underworld. There were even quite a few great warlock rank experts who had died at her hands. With her rich battle experience, she could see through Yang Feng's bluff at a glance. Indeed, the blue Daoism demonic ice wolf is still a bit weak. However, what if I add them? The Muffin demonic polar bear's cockpit opened slightly, radiances flickered, and level 8 bladed troops, gunner troops, shield troops, artillery troops, and other primary battle robots appeared in the grand arena at once. In just a few breaths of time, there were 2,000 level 8 primary battle robots in the grand arena. Their electronic eyes flickered with a red radiance as they firmly locked onto Ramona. Ramona's pretty face finally had a slight change of color. With her strength, she could kill her way in and out of the level 8 primary battle robots without anyone being able to stop her. However, after she destroyed 1,000 level 8 primary battle robots, her strength would be greatly weakened. With the 2 great warlock rank alchemical golems seizing the opportunity to mount a sneak attack on her, then even someone as tyrannical as her would have the possibility of dying. Ramona suddenly said with a smile, "So that's how it is. The rumors are indeed true. Steel City's mechanical legion is indeed worthy of its reputation. Yang Feng, Israel was killed by your Steel City, right?" Yang Feng was slightly startled within, refusing to admit anything. "What Israel? I don't know this person." "You don't have to deny it. At that time, Israel had chased after Snow White Madam by himself. This matter was done in a very secretive manner, but there were still a few people who were aware of it. Now that Snow White Madam has joined your Steel City, and Israel has already been killed. Therefore, it can be determined that the person who killed him was from your Steel City. You're quite an interesting person. Seeing that we're both humans, I'll remind you that the allied forces from the underworld's races have already set their eyes on Steel City. You're on your own, and be more careful. Ramona smiled as she left behind these words. Before grabbing Cobham, her figure shook, and she rushed out of the reception hall. Fortunately, I didn't force out my final trump card. Yang Feng heaved a long sigh of relief after seeing Ramona being scared away by him. Great warlock rank experts were really too terrifying. Although Yang Feng's Mechanical Legion had the certainty to defeat Ramona, but it didn't have the certainty to kill her. With Ramona's strength, she could come and go as she pleased. It was extremely troublesome. At that time, the reason why Yang Feng was able to kill Israel was because he had heavily injured Israel in advance, and then launched a sneak attack. Only then was he able to kill Israel. Ramona was extremely cunning. As soon as she saw that something was amiss, she would immediately flee, leaving Yang Feng with no way to deal with her. As soon as Ramona left, the grand arena became silent, and a strange atmosphere pervaded the air. Yang Feng manipulated the Moffin demonic polar bear to turn around, its electronic eyes continuously moving back and forth between Cordelia, Carolina, and Clarissa, the three most beautiful roses in Turandot subcontinent. Cordelia's beautiful eyes revolved, revealing her seductive look as she said pitifully, "Yang Feng, save me. As long as you save me, I can marry you and help you control Rose Garden. Furthermore, I can also help you get Carolina and Clarissa, and let you wantonly pick Turandot subcontinent's two most beautiful roses." Carolina said sternly, "Yang Feng, don't believe her words. Go ahead and kill her. I'll marry Angelina to you, and let you become Rose Empire's first male emperor. Apart from me and Clarissa, whoever you like in Rose Garden, I'll let her serve you. With my support, you're bound to promote to a level 3 warlock within 100 years. At this moment, the person in control of the situation in the grand arena was Yang Feng. If he wanted someone to live, then that person would live, and if he wanted someone to die, then that person would die. Dephilia came out of the block of ice that sealed her, arrived beside Yang Feng, and asked faintly, "What do you plan to do now?" Yang Feng gave a slight smile and transmitted his voice. "This is a heaven-sent opportunity. Of course I'll take advantage of it to swallow Rose Garden." If there were no mishaps, then even if Steel City attacked Rose Garden, the odds of victory would still be 50-50. Yang Feng definitely wouldn't risk attacking Rose Garden. But now that Rose Garden's 3 great warlocks were either poisoned or seriously injured, he naturally wouldn't let such a great opportunity slip by. A ray of light flew out of the Moffin demonic polar bear's cockpit and landed on the ground, revealing the silhouette of a level 5 humanoid primary battle robot holding a syringe. The level 5 humanoid primary battle robot strode before Cordelia. Yang Feng said faintly, "Cordelia, give up resisting, I can save your life." Cordelia stared fixedly at the level 5 humanoid primary battle robot, sighed faintly, and gave up resisting. With her current strength, she could still kill a level 3 warlock if she mustered all of her strength. But Yang Feng was hiding inside the Moffin demonic polar bear's cockpit, not coming out, and she couldn't do anything about it. The level 5 humanoid primary battle robot took out a syringe, fiercely pricked Cordelia's snow-white arm, and injected the liquid metal nano-robots into her body. Cordelia's body automatically erupted with a formidable force, killing approximately 1/10 of the liquid metal nano-robots. Ultimately, the liquid metal nano-robots merged with every nook and cranny of her body. The level 5 humanoid primary battle robot grabbed the dagger in Cordelia's abdomen and pulled, directly pulling out the dusk dagger. A large amount of black blood spurted out of Cordelia's abdomen. Countless liquid metal nano-robots quickly condensed into blood vessels and skin, repairing Cordelia's abdomen. At the same time, they frantically stimulated the apertures all over Cordelia's body, making her erupt with a formidable life force, forcibly crushing the countless curses. "Yang Feng, thank you very much." Cordelia gasped for breath, then gave Yang Feng a charming smile. Her gaze fell on Carolina and Clarissa, and her beautiful eyes surged with a touch of killing intent. She instantly erupted with a formidable life force, wanting to take action and obliterate the two women. Yang Feng snapped his fingers. Cordelia suddenly felt as if her body was being gnawed by a myriad of ants, itchy and sore. She fell to the ground, struggling in pain and wailing endlessly. The Level 5 humanoid primary battle robot took large strides, arrived in front of Carolina, and grabbed her lily-white arm. Carolina's beautiful eyes flashed with a touch of panic, and she screamed, "Stop, Yang Feng. Don't do this. I can give you any of the treasures in Rose Garden, just let me go." Seeing Cordelia's miserable state, Carolina knew that the injection definitely wasn't anything good. Yang Feng said with a slight smile, "I'll take everything in Rose Garden myself. In any case, from today onwards, everything in Rose Garden, including you, is mine." The Level 5 humanoid primary battle robot grabbed the weak and powerless Carolina and injected the liquid metal nano-robot elixir into her body. Immediately after, it crushed Clarissa's somewhat powerless resistance and injected the liquid metal nano-robot elixir into her body. After being poisoned, Carolina and Clarissa's strength was weakened to the extreme. The immunity in their bodies couldn't kill those liquid metal nanorobots at all, and they could only let those liquid metal nanorobots enter their bodies. Chapter 155. Yang Feng's mind moved, and the liquid metal nanorobots that entered Carolina and Clarissa's bodies were immediately activated, stimulating their hidden aperture points and arousing their extremely formidable life force. Two terrifying life forces instantly erupted from the two women. They opened their mouths and spat out two pitch-black lumps of mixed poison, emitting a nauseating stench. Once Carolina recovered her strength, her gaze fell on Yang Feng's Moffin demonic polar bear. Her beautiful eyes flashed with a touch of killing intent and her body erupted with a formidable life force. She wanted to cast a spell and blast the Moffin demonic polar bear together with Yang Feng into dregs. Inside Rose Garden, with the help of Rose Garden's power, Carolina could even contend against a Starry Sky warlock, and might even suppress or kill the other party. This was a terrifying power that even Yang Feng was apprehensive of. Carolina's killing intent stirred, and then her whole body felt unbearably itchy and painful. Bursts of itch and pain from the bone marrow spread all over her body. The pain made her as proud as she couldn't help but let out painful groans, before rolling on the ground and screaming mournfully. When Clarissa saw this scene, her beautiful eyes flashed with a touch of alarm. "I forgot to tell you. That elixir is Steel City's God-extinguishing elixir. Even if it was a God-rank expert, after being injected with the God-extinguishing elixir, once they had ill intentions towards me, they would be in so much pain that they would wish they were dead. Moreover, their life and death would be under my control. Even if they wanted to commit suicide, they wouldn't be able to." Yang Feng's voice leisurely floated in the grand arena. God-extinguishing elixir? When Dephilia heard that lofty name, her face twitched slightly and she almost wanted to laugh. At present, the liquid metal nano-robot elixir could only control great warlock rank experts at most. Even Starry Sky warlocks might not be able to control it, let alone God rank experts. When Dephilia heard it, she realized that Yang Feng was once again bragging and deceiving Carolina and the other two. Clarissa looked at the battered and exhausted appearance of the proud, beautiful and dignified Carolina and couldn't help but plead with Yang Feng. "Yang Feng, don't bully big sister Carolina. I plead on her behalf, please spare her." Yang Feng snapped his fingers. Carolina felt the pain inside her disappear. She stood up drenched in sweat, glared at Yang Feng, and gnashed her teeth. "You fiend!" Yang Feng said with a faint smile, "Many thanks for the praise." Cordelia smiled like a flower, threw Yang Feng a coquettish look, and walked to Yang Feng's side, a fragrance wafting from her. "Ha, younger sister Carolina, I didn't expect that you would also fall into Master's hands. Master, I, Cordelia, am willing to pledge loyalty to you. You can do whatever you want to me." Carolina glared at Cordelia, her beautiful eyes flickered with resentment and she gnashed her teeth, saying, "Yang Feng, kill her. As long as you kill her, I will give you the entire Rose Garden. Even if you want me, I will give it to you." If Cordelia hadn't suddenly rebelled and plotted against Carolina, then Carolina wouldn't have been subdued by Yang Feng. She was a peerless expert infinitely close to the Starry Sky Warlock rank. Moreover, she was Rose Garden's master and dominated all of Rose Garden's forces. Within Rose Garden, she could even suppress Starry Sky Warlocks. Carolina was proud and arrogant. Now that she was under Yang Feng's control, she really wished to tear Cordelia to shreds. When Cordelia heard that, her tender body stiffened slightly, a touch of fear flashed past the abyss of her beautiful eyes, and she looked at Yang Feng. Her fate was now completely at Yang Feng's whim. Carolina was superior to her in every aspect. If Yang Feng abandoned her, then once she fell into Carolina's hands, she would definitely suffer a fate worse than death. Yang Feng said with a slight smile, "Henceforth, the three of you are still good sisters, so get along well. Cordelia, don't worry, I've already given them an order. They can't harm you. As long as they make the slightest movement, they will suffer a fate worse than death. But similarly, you can't harm them, or else you will also suffer a fate worse than death." The liquid metal nanorobot elixir couldn't control people's minds. Yang Feng also wanted to plant a nail in Rose Garden, so that Rose Garden wouldn't be able to work together as one, so that he could truly slowly control the entire Rose Garden. Cordelia had already greatly offended the two women, Carolina and Clarissa. Only by closely following Yang Feng would she have a way out. With Cordelia in Rose Garden, Carolina and Clarissa could only rely on Yang Feng and wouldn't be able to make him a mere figurehead. "Many thanks, Master." Cordelia was overjoyed. Her tender body went limp, and like a helpless little bird, she fell into Yang Feng's embrace. Carolina's eyes almost spurted flames, and she said extremely frigidly, "Cordelia, you're also a great warlock of Rose Garden, yet you're so servile to a man, do you still have any dignity?" Cordelia retorted sarcastically, "Carolina, you don't have to pretend to be pure and holy. From today onwards, you and I are both master's prey. In the future, we might even meet naked on a big bed." Carolina's pretty face flushed with anger, and she said loudly, "You're so shameless." Cordelia said with a beaming smile, "You're the shameless one. I'm just stating the truth." Yang Feng said lightly, "All right, stop quarreling." Cordelia appeared very obedient and respectfully responded. Carolina still wanted to say something, but when she saw the limp warlocks in the grand arena, she once again became silent. She also didn't want to continue showing her disgraceful side in front of those low-level warlocks. Carolina swept the surroundings with a glance. A peculiar glint flashed in the abyss of her beautiful eyes, and she said solemnly, "What do you plan to do with the people here?" In the grand arena, there were about 200,000 warlocks. More than half of these warlocks came from Rose Empire, and they were Rose Empire's elite class. Carolina was somewhat worried that Yang Feng would kill indiscriminately and harm Rose Empire's vitality. Yang Feng said lightly, "First detain them, and then let them leave after injecting them with the God-extinguishing elixir." The liquid nanorobot elixir was also a high-end product, and Yang Feng only carried 1,000 vials with him. He could only give priority to those geniuses and tyrannical warlocks from Tyrannid subcontinent. "Open the Rose Divine Pool, I want to go in and practice cultivation." After arranging everything, Yang Feng said directly to Carolina. Carolina said lightly, "You're still in the mood to practice cultivation? Didn't you hear Ramona's words? I'm afraid that the experts of the Underworld's allied forces have already gathered at Steel City's side." Yang Feng said with a slight smile, "It's fine if the experts of the Underworld's allied forces don't go to Steel City's headquarters, Black City. If they go, then that's exactly what I want. The corpses of great warlock rank experts are first-rate alchemy materials." Great warlock rank experts, apart from wizards and magi, who had exceptionally strong spirit force and frail fleshly bodies, had very tyrannical fleshly bodies. The majority of great warlock rank experts had very tyrannical fleshly bodies and were first-rate alchemy materials. Israel's corpse had already been refined by Yang Feng into a great warlock rank alchemical battle golem. However, the alchemical battle golem refined from his corpse was relatively weak. That was because his fleshly body still couldn't compare to that of a genuine level 4 extraordinary life form. Speak of the devil. There's really something reckless that dares to come to our Steel City's headquarters. Interesting. Carolina, I'll let you experience the might of our Steel City's headquarters. Suddenly, Yang Feng's body shook slightly and he revealed a trace of a smile. He quickly summoned Clarissa, Cordelia, Carolina, Dephilia and the other women into a room. He casually pressed a button and a holographic projector appeared in a flash. Countless rays of light flickered and projected everything in Black City's vicinity into the void. Is this Steel City's alchemy product? Sure enough, it's extraordinary. Steel City's City Master Yang Yi is really an alchemy genius. After Carolina, Clarissa, and Cordelia, the three women saw the holographic projection. Their hearts shivered slightly and their contempt for Steel City decreased by a notch. Although Carolina had coincidentally fallen into Yang Feng's hands, but she had always looked down on Steel City. She believed that Steel City was at most a first-rate warlock force like Fire Pagoda in Tyrandot subcontinent. Now that she saw the holographic projection, her view of Steel City had once again changed somewhat. On the main road 10 kilometers away from Black City, there was a small inspection station. Only after people and caravans had passed the inspection could they proceed forward and undergo the second and third inspection before finally entering Black City. As Steel City's base on the surface, Yang Feng had invested a lot in Black City. He had spent a huge amount of resources to transform it into a huge fortress, with incomparably strict defenses and extremely strict inspections. Over the years, most of the assassins or intelligence personnel who had attempted to enter Black City to cause trouble had turned into broken corpses. Under the incomparably strict defenses, the various forces were even more convinced that Black City was Steel City's City Master Yang Ye's base of residence. A caravan loaded with goods slowly walked towards Black City. As the capital of Steel City, Black City was extremely prosperous. Every day, a large amount of goods would be consumed, with caravans coming and going in an endless stream. Halt! A team of level 5 humanoid primary battle robots with Gauss rifles stopped the caravan at once and barked coldly. The caravan immediately stopped, no one daring to budge. Those humanoid robots didn't have the slightest bit of humanity, they only had extremely inflexible programs. Those who dared to bribe them or provoke them were all dead. A chubby middle-aged man with a round face walked out from the crowd and said respectfully, "Sir, I'm the person in charge of this caravan. May I ask what's the problem? Every time we, the Daoism caravan, travel, we pay sufficient taxes, there's absolutely no tax evasion." Chapter 156. The humanoid robot pointed towards the caravan's crowd and said coldly, "Apart from that person, all of you are to leave at once. That person is our Steel City's enemy." When the people in the caravan heard that, their complexions changed greatly, their legs as if they had grown wings, they ran very fast, scattering like birds and beasts. "Wait for me. You bunch of bastards, don't run so fast. Come and help me." The caravan's manager's complexion also changed greatly, he didn't even care about the goods, and frantically fled into the distance. Black City's fighting style was extremely rough, without the slightest regard for the innocent. There were many times when some formidable assassins mixed into the caravan. As a result, the caravan and the assassins were blasted to smithereens by Black City's artillery. The Daoism caravan had done business with Black City many times, and was naturally aware of its horrors. After the people in the caravan had fled, a man with a simple and honest face, an unremarkable appearance, and a head full of short blue hair was revealed. "It's really strange, my polymorph is already comparable to a level 4 spell, even the aura of my soul can be somewhat concealed, and there isn't a trace of life force leaking from my body. How did you find me?" The man with short blue hair twisted all over his body, and very strangely changed into a blonde, blue-eyed, handsome and tall and sturdy young man. The young man was answered by a dense hail of Gauss machine gun bullets, with countless bullets madly raining down on him. Interesting, these guns already possess the power to threaten level 3 warlocks. Reportedly, in the 6th Warlock dynasty, ordinary people can also use some formidable alchemical secret treasures to display terrifying power. It seems that the legend of Yang Yi obtaining the 6th Warlock dynasty's inheritance is indeed true. The young man casually grabbed several Gauss machine gun bullets, carefully observed them, and revealed a trace of a smile. As soon as the densely packed Gauss rifle bullets flew to the side of the young man, their trajectories were directly distorted, and they shot towards the surroundings. The blonde, blue-eyed man suddenly said in a loud voice, "I'm Demon Clan's great warlock Yi Deng. I came today to request an audience with Steel City's city master Yang Yi. Please come forward for a chat." A loud voice reverberated throughout Black City. Everyone in every corner of Black City could hear Yi Deng's voice. It was as if a god was expounding his holy words in the sky. "If you have something to say, spit it out." An equally loud voice came from Black City. "Those who come from afar are guests. City Lord Yang Yi, is this how your city of steel treats its guests? Why don't you invite me into the city?" Yi Deng flicked his finger, and beams of black light shot into the humanoid robots. Sizzle! Sizzle! The sound of corrosion rang out, and the dozen or so level 5 humanoid robots were turned into a pile of molten iron without any resistance. Yang Ye's voice came from Black City. "I have nothing to talk about with demons. I, Yang Yi, am a human and upright man. He would never collude with the fiendish demons, nor would he make any deals with them. Even if I, Yang Yi, fight to the last moment, and am the only one left, I will never compromise with the demons." As he spoke, the image of a righteous and unyielding hero of the human race was outlined. What a hero of the human race! Unfortunately, a hero of the human race is a mortal enemy of my demon clan. Yang Yi, although it's a pity, but today is the day of your death. Yi Deng sighed and walked step by step towards the direction of Black City. Above Black City's city wall, in a split second, countless fully automatic Gauss cannons, 37mm multi-barrel kinetic energy crystal cannons and other cannons extended and madly swept towards Yi Deng. An overwhelming hail of bullets engulfed Yi Deng. The ferocious cannon fire bombarded Yi Deng's body and easily pierced through his body. When they fell to the ground, they exploded and blasted small holes one after another. Yi Deng said with a faint smile, "It's no use. In the end, alchemical golems are just alchemical golems without wisdom. I can walk through countless parallel spaces. Without reaching the Great Warlock rank, you can't harm me in the slightest. How can this be? How is this possible? How can a Great Warlock rank expert be so strong?" Inside Rose Garden, Yang Feng's eyes flashed with a touch of astonishment as he exclaimed. With her brilliant vision, Carolina saw through Yi Deng's trick at a glance, and said with a sneer, "Humph, what walking through parallel spaces? How can a trifling Great Warlock do this? To walk freely in parallel spaces, only peerless experts with Moonlight Warlock rank cultivation and strength comparable to that of gods might be able to do it. This is just a trifling illusion. However, this hellion is very cunning and knows how to deceive you with words. If you really think that he can walk in parallel space and is invulnerable, then he is a peerless expert who can walk in parallel space and is invulnerable." Cordelia also smiled without saying a word. She had also seen through Yi Deng's facade. Great Warlock rank experts were indeed peerless experts in Tyrandot subcontinent, with all kinds of peerless secret methods that ordinary people could only hope to attain. However, they were merely extraordinary life forms, and had yet to transform into gods, ancient fiends, ancient devils, and other such mighty existences. Similarly, they also had limits to their strength. "So it's an illusion. Activate the scanning system." Yang Feng felt slightly at ease and immediately issued an order. One after another, cone-shaped mechanical creations extended from all directions of Black City, and probing ripples of different frequencies spread out silently. Many tubular mechanical constructs also extended from the ground, shooting out rays of infrared rays that interweaved to form a large infrared net. All kinds of scanning systems continuously scanned, and finally found Yi Deng's true body 500 meters to the left of him. Boom, boom, boom. More than 150mm caliber heavy artillery fired in unison and instantly covered the position of Yi Deng's true body. The terrifying artillery fire exploded together, setting off a small mushroom cloud of dust. Interesting, to actually be able to discover my position. It seems that you've indeed obtained the inheritance of the 6th Warlock dynasty. I'm even more interested in you. Shrouded in a layer of advanced warping force field, Yi Deng smiled as he strolled out of the smoke and dust of the explosion. He wasn't injured in the slightest, and even his clothes weren't stained with a trace of dust. Yang Feng gave a long sigh and said, "So this is a great warlock rank expert, truly amazing. Even 150mm caliber heavy artillery couldn't kill him." From the analysis of the portable fortified stronghold smart computer, Yang Feng understood that Yi Deng hadn't avoided the range of the heavy artillery's bombardment. Yi Deng had braved the might of the heavy artillery's bombardment and walked out from inside. Carolina's beautiful eyes flashed with a touch of graveness. The might of that heavy artillery is equivalent to a weakened version of a level 3 area of effect spell. Its might is too scattered, and basically can't injure a great warlock. However, this Yi Deng was actually able to suppress the warping force field to an area of roughly 10 centimeters on the surface of his body. His strength is truly unfathomable. I'm afraid that he's only slightly inferior to me. Yi Deng had just emerged from the smoke and dust of the explosion when countless Gauss artillery shells immediately engulfed him. The densely packed Gauss artillery shells bombarded Yi Deng's advanced warping force field, causing the warping force field to continuously tremble and almost collapse. Yi Deng's complexion changed slightly, his figure shook, his speed soared to the limit, and like a ghost, he rushed towards Black City's city wall. Within a few breaths of time, Yi Deng braved the countless artillery shells and arrived above Black City's city wall. He flicked his 10 fingers, and as if possessing a life of its own, black threads swept towards the Gauss artillery shells. The Gauss artillery shells were directly cut in half by the black threads and fell to the ground. The corners of Yang Feng's mouth rose slightly, revealing a trace of a smile. "Idiot, you'll be struck by lightning if you act pretentious." Boom! Practically at the same time, the section of Black City's city wall that Yi Deng was stepping on issued a world-shaking explosion. A terrifying mushroom cloud rose in a flash, and an extremely berserk shock wave spread in all directions. A badly battered figure flew out from the explosion in a sorry state, and hit the ground, revealing Yi Deng covered in blood, his expression sinister and his battered and exhausted appearance. So ruthless! Carolina's beautiful eyes also flashed with a touch of shock, and she looked at that scene with lingering fear. Even a great warlock like Yi Deng was covered in wounds from the explosion and almost died. If it was Carolina in his place, then she might not have fared much better than him. After the explosion seriously injured Yi Deng, countless Gauss artillery shells madly shot towards Yi Deng from the parts of the city wall that hadn't been destroyed. In a split second, the countless artillery shells exploded on Yi Deng's body, and a copious amount of blood splattered in all directions, looking extremely miserable. Yi Deng continuously spat out a few mouthfuls of blood, clenched his teeth, and silently recited an incantation. His body burst open, and turned into streams of blood-colored mist that dispersed in all directions. Boom, boom, boom. The moment Yi Deng's body dispersed, 200 large-caliber heavy artillery once again fired in unison and bombarded the location of the blood-colored mist. The extremely berserk shock wave instantly engulfed the streams of blood-colored mist. The streams of blood-colored mist suffered heavy damage and could only condense once again, forming a battered Yi Deng. Yi Deng faced upwards and issued a shrill howl. "Come and save me." "Ha! Yi Deng, you also have such a day. Look at your appearance, you're really battered and exhausted." An extremely forthright laughter came from the sky, and a 100-meter-tall giant covered in a layer of huge rock armor dropped from the sky and blocked in front of Yi Deng. The countless Gauss artillery shells bombarded the rock armor and blasted small holes on it, but were unable to penetrate the several-meter-thick rock armor. The small holes only appeared for a split second, and then began to rapidly heal. Chapter 157. Yang Feng's eyes flashed with a touch of graveness and he said solemnly, "Rock Giant, an adult rock giant. The allied forces of the underworld's races really think highly of me, even dispatching such a terrifying existence. A peculiar glint flashed past Carolina's beautiful eyes as she caught a flaw in Yang Feng's words. Giants were terrifying, extraordinary life forms on par with dragons. They were terrifying life forms with few rivals of the same rank. At that time, when Tyrannid subcontinent had attacked the plane of giants, it had similarly suffered heavy losses. Among the 8 great warlock dynasties, only the first 7 great warlock dynasties had conquered the plane of giants. The 8th warlock dynasty, Dawn dynasty, had also conquered many planes, yet it didn't dare to behave atrociously in the plane of giants. This 100 meters tall rock giant was an adult rock giant. It was definitely a terrifying life form comparable to a dragon. The countless Gauss cannons rumbled madly, blasting small holes in the rock giant's armor, but the armor quickly repaired itself, basically unable to injure the rock giant in the slightest. Carolina's beautiful eyes flashed with a touch of graveness and she said solemnly, "Yang Feng, the allied forces of the underworld's races even dispatched such a secret weapon like the rock giant. It seems like they're determined to get Steel City. I'm afraid that the number of experts they've dispatched will far exceed your imagination." Yang Feng nodded slightly. After the portable fortified stronghold was built, a large part of Shizu's technology had been unlocked. Black City had already been fortified by him, with countless weapons. 1 or 2 great warlocks were basically unable to breach Black City. Eden looked up and shouted, "Xianxia, if you don't show up, then I'll immediately turn around and leave." "Am I not here?" A bell-like chuckle resounded, and the coquettish and beautiful great matriarch of the Dark Elves, Xianxia, whose every move was shrouded in a layer of charm, walked out with a flower-like smile and a fragrance wafting from her. Behind Xianxia followed 3 handsome, tall and sturdy young men, their eyebrows brimming with endless arrogance. Eden's pupils constricted slightly, his eyes flashed with a touch of apprehension, and he said solemnly, "3 great black dragons, Xianxia, you actually brought out your dark elven trump card, the 3 great black dragons. It seems like you attach great importance to Steel City's city master Yang Yi." The heroic rock giant looked at the 3 young men behind Xianxia with a hint of fear in his eyes. The 3 black dragons were the Dark Elves' ultimate weapons in the underground world, as well as the strongest weapons they used to suppress other resistance forces. In the underground world, there was no power that didn't know of the 3 dark dragons worshipped by the Dark Elves, James, Creed, and Briar. Xianxia smiled sweetly and said, "That's right, Steel City's city master Yang Yi belongs to us Dark Elves. As for the other treasures in the City of Steel, we can divide them equally." Just who does Steel City's Yang Yi belong to? Once we break through the City of Steel, we can use our own methods to fight over him. There's no point in agreeing on it in advance. With a sneer, a handsome middle-aged man slowly walked out from the side and coldly stared at Xianxia's group. Xianxia's beautiful eyes flashed with a touch of fear, and she said in a deep voice, "Napman, do you really want to compete with me?" This handsome middle-aged man was Tyrannid subcontinent's Undead Hellion clan's Undead Hellion monarch Napman. He was a peerless expert ranked in the top 5 of the underworld's allied forces, and his strength was infinitely close to that of a Starry Sky warlock. Napman said with a faint smile, "Why should we fight over something that we haven't even gotten our hands on? There are still a lot of human clans peak experts glaring covetously from the sidelines. It would be better for us to first join hands and get rid of them. Then we'll talk about the rest." Xianxia pondered for a moment, then swept a small hill on the right with a glance and nodded, saying, "That's right, let's first join hands and get rid of those human clan flies hiding nearby before talking about the rest. You lowly and petty races, even if you join hands, you're still doomed to die. If you obediently surrender, then we can still spare your lives and let you linger on at death's door." Accompanied by a cold snort, an old man with white hair and beard, dressed in a red warlock's robe with a golden thread on the cuff, slowly walked out of the hill and looked at Xianxia and her entourage with an extremely haughty expression. Next to the old man was a middle-aged man with short blonde hair and an ordinary appearance, seemingly without any distinguishing features. Xianxia said with a charming smile, "Grant and Boxer from White Elephant's Ivory, did the 2 of you come to throw away your lives?" There were as many as 7 great warlock rank experts from the underworld's allied forces. Moreover, these 7 great warlocks were peak great warlocks. With the 7 of them joining hands, they were absolutely certain that they could kill Grant and Boxer. Grant, who was dressed in a red warlock's robe, said lightly, "Of course, it's not just the 2 of us. There's also Savage Claw. A tall and sturdy man with a big beard, extremely sturdy muscles, and mysterious tattoos on his upper body, along with an aged woman dressed in a blue warlock's robe and a man with a small and thin stature, resembling a skinny monkey, walked out from the side." Napman's eyes flashed with a touch of graveness and he said lightly, "Kamis, Hallie, Eben of Savage Claw, you've really invested a lot for Steel City's Yangyi. However, just by relying on the 5 of you, you still aren't our match." "That's right, just by relying on the 5 of us, we can at most escape unscathed in front of you. However, it's not just the 5 of us who are coveting Steel City's inheritance. Black Dragon Pagoda, Eyes of Justice, Warlock College and Talia, they've also dispatched great warlock rank experts." The big-bearded Kamis gave a heroic smile and casually flicked his finger, before 3 cyan magic radiances instantly shot towards 3 different directions. As soon as the 3 cyan magic lights fell on the 3 incomparably spacious areas, they set off waves of ripples. Obviously, there was something concealed in the 3 open spaces. Xianxia and the other experts from the underworld's allied forces at once focused their gazes on the 3 open spaces. Seeing that they could no longer continue to conceal themselves, the experts in the 3 open spaces also shed their disguises. In one of the 3 open spaces, there was a young man dressed in a white warlock's robe, with an arrogant expression on his face, standing loftily. In one of the open spaces, there was a middle-aged man with short blonde hair, a handsome appearance, and a scholarly temperament. There was a middle-aged man with long gray hair, a haggard appearance, and a corpse-like appearance. In another open space, there were 2 men and 1 woman. The 2 men and 1 woman had blonde hair and blue eyes. The man was handsome, the woman was beautiful, and their temperaments were extremely extraordinary. Napman's eyes flashed with a touch of ridicule, and he sneered. Eyes of Justice's Uhtred, Warlock College and Talia's Clifford and Connell, Black Dragon Pagoda's Carlo, Paris, and Nina. Steel City City Master Yang Yi is a genius of your human clan, a pillar of support against our underworld's allied forces. I didn't expect that there would be so many human clan experts coming to capture him. Your human clan is really united." Yang Feng's eyebrows creased slightly and he said in a low voice, "My goodness, this is just a trifling 6th Warlock Dynasty's inheritance. How could it attract so many experts?" Warlock College and Talia and the other 5 great warlock groups had existed for thousands of years and possessed countless secret methods. Among them, there was no lack of peak secret methods passed down from the eras of the 8 great warlock dynasties. According to reason, there was no need to covet the 6th Warlock Dynasty's secret methods. Carolina's vision was extremely brilliant, and she hit the nail on the head and pointed out the crux of the matter. Our 6 great warlock groups possess countless secret methods. However, many of those secret methods can only be cultivated until the Starry Sky Warlock realm at most. They gathered in your Steel City in order to see if the 6th Warlock Dynasty's secret method obtained by your uncle Yang Yi has any secret method to advance to the Starry Sky Warlock rank. Moreover, your uncle can refine level 2 Warlock rank golems on a large scale. In our Tyrannid subcontinent, this kind of alchemy can almost be called a golem grandmaster. Coupled with the addition of a great warlock like Snow White Madam, your Steel City has already become a formidable existence that can threaten our 6 great warlock groups. They naturally won't give you the time to continue developing. In addition, your Steel City merely has a 3-story tall warlock pagoda, and its defensive strength is too weak. That's why they were tempted and gathered their experts in order to flatten your Steel City in one fell swoop. This kind of thing isn't uncommon in the past thousands of years. Your Steel City's performance during this period of time has been too eye-catching, Carolina analyzed in a clear and organized manner. Yang Feng suddenly said, "If it wasn't for Cordelia, then wouldn't Rose Garden also have a part in besieging Steel City?" Carolina said very calmly, "Perhaps, Yang Feng smiled slightly, no longer pursuing the matter, and his gaze fell on the screen. Napman sneered, "Clifford, Steel City is a force attached to your Warlock College in Talia. For you to act so openly against him, aren't you afraid that the people below will be bitterly disappointed?" Clifford smiled faintly, inverting the truth as he said, "Yang Ye's nephew Yang Feng recklessly killed people, and is now no longer a person of our Warlock College in Talia. Moreover, Steel City colluded with the Hellions in an attempt to subvert human clan. It's a heinous crime, and is already a public enemy of our Tyrandot subcontinent's human clan. As one of Tyrandot subcontinent's guardians, Warlock College Antalya is duty-bound to root out such scum." Napman said merrily, "Yang Yi colluded with us Hellions. How could I, the undying Hellion monarch, not know about it? Is this the intention of Warlock College Antalya alone, or is it the intention of everyone?" Grant's eyes flickered with endless resentment, and he enunciated each syllable. "Of course it's the intention of everyone. Steel City colluded with the Hellions. It's a heinous crime, and only death awaits them. Our white elephant's ivory definitely won't let such scum of human clan off. We'll definitely exterminate them, not leaving a single one alive." Dephilia killed Grant's grandson, Rymont, in the Rose Garden. She also destroyed one of Grant's clones. Grant wished that he could skin Yang Feng and Dephilia alive, and at the same time, he also hated Steel City, which Yang Feng came from, to the bones. After listening to Grant's words, Eyes of Justice's Uhtred only sneered. Savage Claw's Kamis and the other two also sneered without saying a word. Black Dragon Pagoda's three great experts also chuckled without saying a word, clearly tacitly agreeing with Grant's slander. Yang Feng's complexion was ashen as he said furiously, truly inverting the truth. "Our Steel City has clearly made great contributions in resisting the underworld's allied forces. How can they invert the truth and frame us?" Although Yang Feng hadn't gone all out, but he had, after all, resisted the underworld's allied forces and killed more than 100,000 Hellions. Now that Grant and them were inverting the truth and framing him, the anger within him couldn't be contained. Carolina's beautiful eyes flashed with a touch of pity, and she said lightly, "This is the reality. In Tyrandot subcontinent, our 6 great warlock groups are the strongest, and we're the rule makers. If we say that you colluded with the Hellions, then even if you didn't, you'll still bear the crime of colluding with the Hellions. If we say that you didn't collude with the Hellions, then even if you did, there won't be any problems." Napman burst into laughter and said, "Hi Yang Yi, did you hear that? These shameless human warlocks have already condemned you for colluding with the Hellions. The entire Tyrandot subcontinent's human forces are your enemies. The only way out for you now is to surrender to our demon clan. I'll personally change your blood meridians and let you become a noble member of our undying Hellion clan. After the Hellions dominate the continent, you'll also be given a piece of territory to rear those lowly and shameless humans." A righteous and upright voice sounded from Black City. "Those who walk different paths cannot make plans together. I, Yang Yi, am an upright man. Even if I'm condemned by 1,000 people, even if I die, I still won't change my conviction." "A true man, what a pity." Kamis's eyes flashed with a touch of a complicated glint, and he sighed slowly. Each of the 5 great human warlock groups' great warlocks were experts who had stood out after countless cruel competitions. Since they had already made up their minds to destroy Steel City, then they absolutely wouldn't waver. Yang Ye's indifferent voice came from Black City. "I indeed have the 6th Warlock Dynasty's secret method inheritance. Moreover, this secret method inheritance can be practiced until the Moonlight Warlock realm. However, I'm the only one with this secret method inheritance. There are so many of you, so how are you going to divide it?" As soon as this remark was made, the atmosphere became somewhat strange. Everyone wanted the 6th Warlock Dynasty's secret method inheritance, but in the end, only one person could obtain it. The experts gathered here all harbored ulterior motives. Just the camps alone were divided into 2 major camps, and the 2 major camps were further divided into 7 or 8 smaller camps. Especially the human side, although they had 11 great warlock rank experts, but the 11 great warlock rank experts came from different forces, and some were even mortal enemies who hated each other. In a real fight, they might not be able to defeat the 7 other race great warlock rank experts. Chapter 158. Yang Yi, there's no use in your shallow sowing of dissension. Grant said with a cold smile, I propose that we first join forces to break through Steel City and capture Steel City's city master, Yang Yi. Then, we'll fight over that person based on our own abilities. Otherwise, while we're fighting to the death here, Yang Yi, this waste who isn't even a great warlock, would take advantage of us. That would be laughable. Napman pondered for a moment, then nodded and agreed, all right. The rest of the great warlocks were also wily old foxes. They pondered for a moment, then agreed to Grant's proposal. Although Yang Feng's words had planted a seed of division in their hearts, but Grant's proposal had struck deep into their hearts. They didn't want to fight each other in vain, and then let Yang Feng take advantage of them and kill them all. The great warlocks had just agreed, when countless Gauss cannons madly swept across the city wall, and a dense hail of bullets madly bombarded the great warlocks. The great warlocks were shrouded in a layer of warping force field. The countless Gauss cannons' shells were warped, unable to break through the layer of warping force field, and were deflected to the side. With a flick of Clifford's wrist, a black book-like legendary secret treasure book of Gaia appeared in his hand. He silently recited an incantation. The book of Gaia in his hand flipped open a few pages, and an incomparably terrifying level 4 earth attribute spell was instantly released from the book of Gaia. Rumble, rumble, rumble. In the surroundings of Black City's city wall, the earth shook and the earth cracked. The incomparably sturdy city wall also shook unceasingly, teetering on the verge of collapse. The Gauss cannons embedded in Black City's city wall also shook unceasingly, and their trajectories deviated from their original trajectories. If it wasn't for Black City's city wall being repaired after Yang Feng took over, then it would have already cracked and collapsed. Earth attribute spell. I'll lend you a hand. The rock giant Bonardine laughed loudly and erupted with a terrifying life force. He pressed his huge hands towards the earth, and an incomparably terrifying fluctuation of earth attribute spell appeared below Black City's city wall in a flash. Rumble! Rumble! The ground beneath Black City's city wall cracked, and the terrifying cracks swallowed large sections of the city wall. Large sections of Black City's walls collapsed and fell into the cracks underground. I'm afraid there's a large number of explosives buried inside Black City's walls. Let me break them. Connell smiled and took out a legendary-level magic staff, the Flaming Staff. He chanted an incantation and pointed the staff at the sky. A huge amount of fire elements quickly gathered in the sky, then turned into balls of fire, falling from the sky and pouring down on the ground. Connor pointed to the sky and silently recited an incantation. Violent gales blew and swept the fireballs into the cracks in the ground. The fireballs bombarded the walls of Black City. Connor waved his hand, and oil snakes that were more than 10 meters long suddenly flew out and fell into the crack in the ground. When they came into contact with the fireball, they started burning frantically and completely engulfed Black City's wall. The crack in the ground suddenly ignited with countless flames. Under the terrifyingly high temperature, all kinds of weapons installed inside Black City's wall madly exploded. Yang Feng smiled bitterly inside. Great warlock rank experts are really amazing. The most terrifying enemy isn't a single great warlock, but a group of great warlocks. Those great warlocks joined hands, and with just a few targeted level 4 spells, they destroyed the first line of defense that Yang Feng was so proud of. If it was a mortal army, then even a million-strong army, they still wouldn't be able to climb Black City's city wall. Eden, who was riddled with scars from the explosions, also recovered his full strength under the nourishment of all kinds of healing spells and powerful elixirs. Along with rumbling sounds, 300 Falcon heavy-duty assault helicopters rose into the sky, and as if raindrops, fired air-to-surface missiles madly bombarded the more than a dozen great warlocks. Pretty good aerial weapons. Unfortunately, your opponents are too strong. Kamis gave a heroic smile, waved his hand, and a 13 m long level 4 extraordinary life form lightning giant serpent flew out, its whole body flickering with lightning. The lightning giant serpent's whole body flickered with lightning, and as if it had turned into a lightning ray, it entered the 300 Falcon heavy-duty assault helicopters. Boom, 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 boom. One after another, the Falcon heavy-duty assault helicopters fell from the sky, before exploding madly and turning into huge fireballs. 10,000 level 8-bladed troops, gunner troops, artillery troops, and shield troops formed a mixed mechanical legion, killing their way out of Black City. The 3 black dragons behind the dark elven great matriarch Xianxia, James, Creedon, and Briar jumped into the air. Their bodies shook, and they immediately returned to their original forms, turning into 3 adult black dragons with a body length of approximately 17 to 18 meters. The 3 adult black dragons opened their mouths, and 3 dragon breaths blasted into the Mixed Mechanical Legion. In a split second, the Mixed Mechanical Legion's primary battle robots activated their level 2 protective covers. But under the bombardment of the 3 adult black dragons' dragon breaths, the level 2 protective covers burst like bubbles, and then turned into ashes under the dragon breaths. The 3 dragon breaths destroyed more than 300 primary battle robots at once. The great warlocks creased their eyebrows slightly after seeing this scene. Napman praised, "What amazing mechanical golems! The most important thing is that there are so many of them. If there were only 1 or 2 great warlocks, they might not be able to handle so many mechanical golems. They're just ants. Watch as I destroy them." The rock giant Bonardine gave a wild laugh, then extended his hand and made a grabbing motion. The ground surged, and countless stones quickly condensed, before quickly condensing into an up to 100 meters long giant rock club in his hand. Bonardine gave a wild laugh, then rushed into the Mixed Mechanical Legion, before brandishing the giant rock club and randomly smashing it. Wherever the clubs smashed, the primary battle robots were smashed into pieces, before collapsing. "A bunch of idiots. You're here to attract the firepower, so that I can seize the opportunity to capture Yang Yi." Grant gave a cold smile, then his figure shook. He left behind an embodiment, while his true body stealthily shot towards Black Cottage's Warlock Pagoda. "Humph, I knew that these shameless humans are unreliable." Napman's gaze inadvertently swept towards Grant's direction, before he snorted coldly and his figure shook slightly. He left behind an avatar standing in place to cast Fireball and other simple spells, while his main body swept towards Black Cottage's Warlock Pagoda while stealthily moving towards it. One by one, the great warlocks with ulterior motives unleashed their secret methods and stealthily shot towards Black Cottage's Warlock Pagoda. Only the rock giant Bonardine, the lightning boa, and some embodiments were left to destroy the primary battle robots. There were hundreds of small fortifications built around Black Cottage's Warlock Pagoda. Once they sensed Grant's approach, each of the hundreds of small fortifications extended 20 railguns. Radiances flickered, and as if meteors, several thousand railguns crazily shot towards Grant. Even though this alchemical item's might is great, but it's useless if it can't hit its target. Grant gave a cold smile, then silently recited an incantation and cast the level 4 spell short-distance spatial jump. In a flash, he disappeared from where he stood and appeared in the center of the hundreds of small fortifications. The several thousand railguns at once missed their target and directly blasted open a huge hole where Grant had originally stood. Grant didn't tangle with the hundreds of small fortifications. He silently recited an incantation and cast short-distance spatial jump. His body once again disappeared in a flash and appeared in front of Black Cottage's Warlock Pagoda. His tremendous spirit force swept towards Black Cottage's Warlock Pagoda, looking for Yang Ye's figure. Found him. Grant's eyes flashed with a touch of delight, and he blasted a fist at the wall of Black Cottage's Warlock Pagoda. With a punch, he blasted through the pagoda's wall and directly rushed into the deepest room of the Warlock Pagoda. In the deepest room of Black Cottage's Warlock Pagoda, there sat a middle-aged man with black hair and yellow skin. His appearance was almost identical to Yang Feng's fabricated Yang Yi, and he similarly had the cultivation of a pinnacle level 1 warlock. Beside Yang Yi stood 16 level 8 primary battle robots. When they saw Grant appear, 10 beast-type bladed troops brandished their high-frequency oscillation blades and slashed at Grant. Grant's eyes flashed with ecstasy. He pointed with his finger, and 16 petrification rays were shot from his hand and shot at the 16 level 8 primary battle robots. The 16 level 8 primary battle robots were immediately petrified and turned into 16 stone statues. Grant extended his hand towards Yang Yi and shouted sternly, "Ha, Yang Yi, you've finally fallen into my hands. Immediately hand over the control of all the alchemical golems to me, or else I'll kill you." Yang Yi at once erupted with a warping force field. But the warping force field couldn't resist Grant, and was easily grabbed by Grant as if he was grabbing a chick. Yang Yi raised his eyebrows and said righteously, "Grant, if you have the guts, then kill me. If I, Yang Yi, furrow my eyebrows, then I'm not a man. As for the control of these alchemical golems, even if you kill me, I won't hand them over to you." Carolina swept Yang Feng with a glance, and said sarcastically, "Your uncle Yang Yi is a good man, very different from you. I've never had an uncle called Yang Yi, okay?" Yang Feng muttered within. Carolina gave Yang Feng a glance, and her gaze was filled with contempt and disdain. "Your uncle has been caught, yet you, the nephew, are still calmly watching the show. Your uncle really doted on you in vain." Chapter 159. Clarissa, Cordelia and the other women looked at Yang Feng, their gazes flashing with a touch of peculiarity. From anyone's point of view, Steel City's city master Yang Yi was extremely benevolent towards his only kin, Yang Feng. Not only did he spend a lot of resources to help Yang Feng practice cultivation, but he also sent the great warlock Dephilia to act as Yang Feng's bodyguard. Only then did he end up with his lair empty and was captured by Grant. Cordelia promptly took the opportunity to express her loyalty. "Master, why don't we hurry over now? I have a pet, a level 3 extraordinary life form hurricane wyvern. With its speed, coupled with my secret method, we can reach Black City within 6 hours." Yang Feng gave a confident smile and said faintly, "No need, let's continue to quietly watch the show." Seeing Yang Feng brimming with confidence, the several women beside him were somewhat apprehensive within. Only Dephilia had some vague conjectures in her mind. Grant's eyes flashed with a touch of malevolence and savagery. He laughed wildly and said, "Ha! Yang Yi, since you've fallen into my hands, then your life and death will be in my hands. If I want you to live, then you'll live. If I want you to die, then you'll die. I'll interrogate the 6th Warlock Dynasty's secret method from your mouth, then use the 5th Warlock Dynasty's secret method to refine you into a living dead to vent my anger." The 5th Warlock Dynasty was also called the Death Dynasty. During the 5th Warlock Dynasty, the world of warlocks mainly researched the mysteries of life and death. Living dead, undead legion, death god legion, demonic corpses, stitched corpses and all kinds of freaks that hovered between life and death were created. The secret methods passed down from the 5th Warlock Dynasty were extremely strange and cruel, containing countless cruel and strange secret methods that could make people wish they were dead yet unable to live. From the shadows in the corner of the room, a figure suddenly erupted and fiercely blasted a palm at Grant's back. An incomparably formidable life force erupted in a flash, forming an incomparably formidable life protective cover around Grant. The palm contained an incomparably dense death aura, easily piercing through Grant's life force protective cover and blasted his back. The protective life force field also slowed down the speed of the palm, giving Grant a split second of time. He took the opportunity to crush a magic scroll. When the magic scroll shattered, Grant's body also disintegrated and quickly flew to one side, before condensing into a human form. Traces of black chi spread across Grant's face, and traces of black blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. Clearly, he had not completely avoided that attack just now. Grant gnashed his teeth and said, "Napman, it really is you. How despicable, to actually sneak attack me from behind." Napman smiled faintly and said, "In terms of despicableness, who can compare to you humans?" The scene of inverting black and white, pointing fingers at a deer as a horse, and framing a human hero as a traitor was simply too marvelous. If it weren't for you humans having internal strife and scheming against each other, I'm afraid our demon clan would have been annihilated long ago. Ever since the time Lord founded the first warlock dynasty, there were 7 successive warlock dynasties. Human warlocks stood at the apex of many planes, suppressed gods and demons, and conquered one plane after another. If it weren't for the human warlocks constantly having internal strife and scheming against each other, then the demons would have already been wiped out by the human warlocks. The demons would have already been wiped clean by the human warlocks. Since that's the case, then you'll die here. Grant's eyes flashed with a touch of a cold glint. With a flick of his wrist, a huge white elephant statue suddenly flew out, before disintegrating and entering his body, before condensing into a perfectly round and sparkling white full-body armor. Originally, Grant's life force was inferior to Napman's by a large margin. But after putting on the white full-body armor, the formidable life force emitted from his body was unexpectedly not inferior to Napman's. Napman's eyes flashed with a touch of graveness, and he said in a deep voice, "White elephant armor, this is a replica of the semi-divine armament white elephant armor. It looks like it should be a replica of one of the 5 legend rank white elephant armor, right?" After discovering the ancient warlock relic, White Elephant's Ivory's founder obtained all kinds of secret method inheritances and formidable secret treasures. Finally, he founded White Elephant Ivory, this formidable warlock group. The most powerful secret treasure that the founder of White Elephant's Ivory possessed was the semi-divine artifact White Elephant Armor. If the conditions were right, White Elephant Ivory's successive masters would replicate the formidable secret treasure White Elephant Armor. In the history of White Elephant Ivory, a total of 7 legend-rank White Elephant armors had been replicated. However, 2 of them had disappeared during the war. Grant opened his mouth and spat out a black aura of death. He was brimming with confidence and said with a cold smile, "That's right, Napman. My true strength might not be your match. But if you fight with me, the one to die will definitely be you. Because we're humans, we're good at using weapons, while you're just some lowly and petty beasts." Human warlocks were proficient in a variety of secret methods and countless spells, which allowed them to rise above other races step by step. Among them, alchemy was the most important secret method of human warlocks. Even if human warlocks tempered their spirit and fleshly body through a variety of secret methods, their strength was still weaker than that of many extraordinary life forms. Through alchemy, they refined a variety of secret treasures with mystical powers, which allowed them to rise above other races. "You're too arrogant. Even if you have the white elephant armor, the one to die will definitely be you." Napman sneered and operated the Undying Hellion clan's inherited secret method Undying 9 transformations. His life force changed, and countless black aura of death revolved around him, making him look like a peerless Hellion. Napman extended his hand and grasped at empty air. The countless death aura in his hand condensed into a pitch-black blade of death. Suddenly, the blade burst out and strangely appeared in front of Grant. Accompanied by a frightening negative force, the blade chopped towards Grant. Grant silently recited an incantation and pointed with his finger. A huge elemental white elephant condensed from countless elemental forces suddenly flew out of his hand. With an angry roar, it swung its thick trunk and fiercely lashed at Napman's long blade, causing it to be directly sent flying. Napman's figure twisted and strangely appeared above the elemental white elephant. As if a siege hammer, his fist smashed into the elemental white elephant's head. A formidable death force instantly rippled and dented the elemental white elephant's head. Grant's complexion paled slightly. He silently recited an incantation, pointed at Napman, and conjured the level 4 spell Great Weakness. A gray radiance shrouded Napman. Napman's physique suddenly dropped by a few grades. His figure retreated briskly and he silently recited an incantation. Death aura condensed on his body, dispersing the magic power of Great Weakness. Grant continued to urge the elemental white elephant to madly attack Napman. At the same time that Grant dealt with Napman with all his strength, a killing intent suddenly erupted from under the shadow of a table behind him, and a completely transparent figure suddenly burst out. "Shit! Grant's complexion suddenly changed greatly. In a flash, his life force erupted. The white elephant armor flickered with radiance, and a formidable protective cover appeared on his body. A dagger easily pierced through the protective cover of the white elephant armor and stabbed into the white elephant armor, issuing an ear-piercing sound. The dagger barely managed to cut open a hole on the white elephant armor and stabbed into Grant's body. Grant slammed a backhand on the transparent figure, sending it flying and crashing into the wall. A peerless beauty with wheat-colored skin and a slender figure dressed in the phantom knight armor was revealed. She had short blue hair and was sexy and alluring. Bursts of weakness instantly spread throughout Grant's body. He had a splitting headache, his spirit was almost on the verge of collapse, and traces of black chi welled up on his face. Shadow Goddess Melia. Grant was greatly alarmed. He knew that he had been stabbed by the legend-rank cursed dagger, Shadow Dagger. He frantically gathered his spirit force and poured it into the white elephant armor. A powerful sacred and radiant force erupted from the white elephant armor and poured into Grant's body, directly dispersing the curse within Grant's body. But in that split second, Napman took advantage of the split second when Grant was distracted to strangely appear in front of Grant. He slammed his palms into Grant's chest, and violent death force poured into Grant's body. Even though the death force was weakened by 70% by the white elephant armor, the remaining 30% still corroded a large area of Grant's flesh and blood, and broke several of Grant's sternum. The elemental white elephant's trunk also slammed into Napman, breaking several of his ribs, and slammed into the wall of the Warlock Tower, smashing it into pieces. Grant tore a magic scroll to shreds, and a spatial fluctuation enveloped his body. He gave Napman a resentful glance, and then disappeared in a flash. Napman sighed with some regret. Unfortunately, he was wearing the white elephant armor, or else I would have killed him. The warlocks of the 6 great warlock groups have too many life-saving trump cards. It's really not easy to kill one of them. Napman and the Shadow Goddess Melia's joint sneak attack had practically forced Grant into a hopeless situation. Even in such a hopeless situation, he was still able to escape. Grant's strength could be well imagined. That guy Grant got away. Boxer, lend me a hand. After we catch Yang Yi, how about we divide the spoils? Kamis gave a heroic smile and entered the Warlock Pagoda along with Savage Claw's 2 great Warlock rank experts. He stared fixedly at Napman and Miria. The Shadow Goddess has also come. Just as well, you can die here. Welcome to Immortal Cultivation Audiobooks, your gateway to the mystical world of Xianxia. Dive into legendary tales of martial arts, spiritual growth, and immortal ascension. Here, we bring you full-length English audiobooks of the best Wuxia and Xianxia stories, from young prodigies to ancient sect wars. Perfect for fans of Against the Gods, Martial World, and tales of demons and gods.